first of our round 2 races saw the Autobots claw their way to tie the Decepticons in the first race, only to let that momentum slip in the second. The Decepticons put on a clinic, led by Barricade and Knockout, who continue to harvest points as though they're hoarding energon. Tonight, the 8 racers remaining will continue to put points on the board for their faction. Teletran has the first 4 racers selected, and it looks like it'll be the number 1 seed for the Autobots Ironhide, matched with Bumblebee taking on Stockade and Sharkticon Gnaw for the Decepticons.
The anticipation is electric here as we get set to watch the Savvy Veteran and the Yellow Scout shed sparks and laser beams against an enforcer from down under, and a bot whose appetite is so insatiable he thinks the way to turn on is an all-you-can-eat buffet! The Autobots have some catching up to do, but if anyone can do it, it's Ironhide and Bumblebee! I don't know if I like the look in the Sharkticon's eye, but this race is underway! Ooh, it looks like Ironhide gets a great jump out of the gate along with Stockade. The 2 black vehicles appear to psych each other out as Stockade spins out in front of Gnaw, and Ironhide, as soon as he hits the jump, goes all wonky, puts himself into the berm, and puts himself up and over. Stockade then gets in front of Bumblebee, but it's Sharkticon Gnaw who finds the gap in between Ironhide and the berm to get his big wheels across the line and put another 11 points in the Decepticons' total. All the other racers are strewn across the race course as if the Seekers have just come along and destroyed everyone. The Decepticons have definitely got themselves into a little bit of a hole with friendly fire on this round. Stockade definitely has some ground to make up on the Sharkticon, but he's on the outside. This next race is now underway! And Bumblebee takes full advantage for the Autobots as he sees that Ironhide goes right after the Sharkticon Gnaw, sacrificing his run to ensure that the Sharkticon doesn't even get close to the jump this time. And we barely just see that Barricade, for whatever reason, skids out just after the gate drops. Like Jazz did in an earlier race, it looks like Stockade suffered from the same fate. He scrubs all his speed in the top half of the course, running into the side guardrail and everything else that's on the course, where Bumblebee makes his mark and takes maximum points out of this race. This is what the Autobots need to capitalize on, as Stockade can only take 5, whereas Ironhide and the Sharkticon take 2 and 1 respectively. If the Autobots can continue to chip away points like this, then they'll be okay going into the next round. Before we get there, we do have race 3 to contend with. We've got Ironhide and Bumblebee on the outside, Sharkticon and Stockade on the inside. This race is now underway! This race is a complete disaster for both squads as Ironhide decides that he's going to run Bumblebee right into the guardrail, and the Sharkticon does the same thing with Stockade. The gate drops and he rides Stockade right into that guardrail, and both Ironhide and the Sharkticon both spin around backwards. The Sharkticon has a clear run in the middle half of the course where Ironhide decides he's going to hit the berm. Stockade still makes it down across the line, and the Decepticons have doubled up on their score. It's all coming up crimsy for the Autobots as this latest disaster of a lap has definitely got to put them back in that hole. It all comes down to this for these drivers. You've got the Decepticons on the inside and the Autobots on the outside. This last race is now underway. It looks like Ironhide took the bull to the woods on this one as he blitzes the top half of the course and absolutely dominates the bottom half of the course, doing a massive jump across the line to celebrate the victory. Unfortunately, it might be too little too late as his victory jump also sees the Sharkticon and Stockade come across the line, so that doubles up the points as we follow to see where Bumblebee went, and he's actually at the 5 line. It has not been a good day for the Autobots, that's for sure.
And with that, the Decepticons have started to stretch their lead in the overall standings. Ironhide and Bumblebee stumble in their race, just as Prime and Jazz did in theirs, while Stockade and Gnaw did not. Although the lead is still shared by Cliffjumper and Barricade, the difference between the two sides is now 40 points. The Autobots are going to need a miracle in this last group to stop the Decepticons from running away with it, but the matchup doesn't look good for the Autobots. They will get the #1 seed for the Decepticons in Blitzwing, along with their leader Megatron, taking on the likes of Sunstreaker and Sideswipe.
It's the OG Batty himself from Beast Wars teaming up with the neurotic psychopath Triple Changer against the twin Lambo brothers from different space mothers in the final match of the second round. It's sleek and stylish meets brutalistic domination. Who's moving on and who's going home in a box of spare parts of nuts and bolts? The races are set and the final group of round 2 is underway. And this is definitely no way the twins should act towards each other. Sunstreaker comes down and absolutely throws the anchor out on Sideswipe, making him spin out just in the top half of the course. Meanwhile, Megatron comes and sees that Sunstreaker's right next to him and tries to take a jump out of his rear wing, but completely misses him, allowing him to get across the line first. It's actually a very tight finish between Sunstreaker and Blitzwing, but it's Sunstreaker who will take it by a bumper. And Megatron comes across the line for a 10-point score as well, and that'll double up the score from the Decepticons to the Autobots once again. But it's a long way to the top half of the course where Sunstreaker left his twin brother. Hopefully these two have got their sibling rivalry out of the way and done, as race 2 is right now. The Lambos are on the outside, the Decepticons on their inside. This race is now underway. Ooh, and it looks like Sideswipe decided to take his namesake and sideswipe the guardrail. This turns it into another 3-car race between Blitzwing, Megatron, and Sunstreaker, and they absolutely have a fantastic race down the top half of the course to the jump. But it's Megatron who gets there first and decides that he's going to actually race the bottom half of the course instead of trying to take out the competition. He comes across the line for a big 11 points, but Blitzwing is also not denied as he comes in for another 10 points. It is definitely looking like Sunstreaker is a one-man crew out there, as Sideswipe is left all the way up at the top of the course at the 2 line. If Sideswipe decided to start racing, they might actually have a chance. But we've got the Autobots on the inside and we got the Decepticons on the outside. Race 3 is now underway! And it looks like that sibling rivalry has continued in race 3 as Sideswipe gets into Sunstreaker, and that puts them both into the guardrail and ending their race and probably their chance of making the second round. Blitzwing decides he's gonna come across and collect that extra point for the Decepticons, while Megatron, for whatever reason, decides he's gonna stop at the 5 line. And you see the twins of Sunstreaker and Sideswipe who have spun out at the 2 line. This is the final chance to put points on the board for this round, and the Autobots need all that they can get. They're on the inside, the Decepticons are on the outside, and this race is now underway! And this race is full of chaos as the gate drops. Sideswipe smashes into Sunstreaker, but that doesn't unsettle him. Sunstreaker then gets into Blitzkrieg, and Blitzkrieg gets into Megatron, and both of those drivers for the Decepticons are down and over, leaving them in a pile of molten rubber and husks. Sunstreaker then comes across the line to grab a big 11 points for the Autobots. Well, this is probably the one and only time that Blitzkrieg hasn't made it across the finish line to put points on the board for the Decepticons. You can see Megatron grabbing 5, but Sideswipe, I don't know what happened to him.
The fact Sideswipe even made it to the second round is under scrutiny. Sunstreaker seems to have known the task at hand, as he comfortably sits just behind Cliffjumper with 72 points. Blitzwing makes it a 3-way tie for the lead with 80, and the gap in overall points now sits at 67. What this means for round 3 is that we now have an imbalance of factions. Only the top 8 move forward, and that means only 3 Autobots will advance to take on 5 Decepticons. Cliffjumper, Sunstreaker, and Getaway will race Blitzwing, Barricade, Knockout, Stockade, and Megatron next week in hopes of making the finals.
Dude, I'm convinced you do just enough to make the next round, probably so that you don't have to take me to the space bridge.
On the contrary, I'm beginning to believe you may be a good luck charm.
Are you saying you like me?
I'm warming up to you, Meatsticks. Humans may not be as bad as what I was led to believe.
I think that's the nicest thing you've said to me.
I'll take you to the space bridge, but first, we've got some business to attend to. And by the looks of things, We're going to need some more energon.
So let me get this straight. Nanophi's been forced to drive a sentient car who is embroiled in an intergalactic civil war that has been propagated and deliberately fostered by a five-headed alien race known as the Quintessons, for the sole purpose of being judged and sentenced for what again? Being part of a defunct race series called the Frozen Four-Banger, whose participants disappeared without a trace a few cycles ago?
Yep.
And to cap it off, there's something called a space
It's
bridge?
pretty neat, actually. You see how it works is it condenses the core of space-time?
I so don't care how it works. Why haven't you brought it back yet?
That's the thing. You see, I need a little energon and a lot of luck.